My name is Andrew Von Dadelszen, and I'm a fifth-term regional councillor, having lived in Tauranga for the last 37 years. Just to give you a feel for my background, I farmed on my own account for 17 years, and then I came to Tauranga, and after owning a few businesses, I set up my own share broking business, which I ran for 17 years. During that time, I became a regional councillor, and I've always concentrated on transport. As well as transport, I'm also since 2005, I've been a hearings commissioner with a chairing endorsement. So I've chaired a lot of hearings, both for council and as an independent. So my priority is to continue to advocate on behalf of our community, ensuring that we have effectiveness and efficiency in all our decision making, and so that we can deliver a sustainable environment while making sure that we're actually financially resilient. This has helped our regional council to actually have the lowest rate rise in any council in New Zealand for not only this year, but on average for the last 3 years as well. So when you hear about Tauranga City and the woes that they have, our rate rise this year is 0.2%. And how that was achieved actually is a lot to do with public transport. Because I put a lot of emphasis, I don't get into the weeds of the operations, but the governance is all about strategy, and we're working really closely with staff to make sure that transport is done collaboratively and efficiently. And they've managed, you've heard how the Papamoa Park and Ride isn't going ahead. Well, the reason it's not going ahead is because central government have refused to fund it. And without funding from central government, we would, if we wanted to fund it, it would, you would have to have substantial rate rises. And I look around this room and I don't think there's anyone here that can afford the rate rises that we're seeing Tauranga City giving us at the moment. So that's absolute core to who I am. I want to make sure that we do the best we can. We've got a wonderful investment with Quayside Holdings. That's with the port shares and the other investments, it's a $3.5 million asset. We've got to protect that, we've got to grow it, but that's for our future and for our grandchildren's future. And with that, we can do so much for our community. So a couple of years, 3 years ago, we were taking a dividend from the port, mainly from the port, but from the Quayside investments, of around 24 million. We last year it went up to 47 million that we were receiving. So it's not a question of how can we fund these things. We can fund things if we're careful about it. But just spending, so be very careful who you select as your people to vote for, because you'll hear a lot about, yes, we'd love to have a rail connection here and a this there. It's got to be realistic. You've got to make sure that everything you do is fundable. And I've got a strong track record in governance. I've been on, I've chaired and been treasurer on lots of businesses from local not-for-profits. Like I've been a 31-year Rotarian, so the K Valley development, wetland development there, I chaired that for 7 years, and I've been on the trust currently for treasurer. Yesterday we planted another 6,500 trees and shrubs, and as a Rotary project with 150 people, and it's fantastic. Rotary has actually given our community, Tauranga City, it's raised over $2.5 million to help that sort of work. So that's the sort of stuff I do. I've worked with youth at risk. I've been on the Tauranga Youth Trust when that was, I did 10 years on that as the treasurer. and we were looking after working out of the police station, local police station, and looking after youth at high risk. And every child that we actually we saved the country about $1 million because they would have gone to crime. And my biggest joy was when one of our children, who was heavily abused as a 4-year-old, ended up as the head prefect at Tauranga Boys a couple of years ago. So it's that sort of work with the community, it's on the ground, it's practical, that I do. So my governance stretches also at a national level. I've been a director for Crown entities. I'm currently actually been appointed for my sins the National Board of the New Zealand National Party. So that's one of 7 independent directors on the board with the Prime Minister. So that I only had my first meeting last week. But I've also worked internationally for NGOs. I've got a London-based MBA, and you say, why would you go for a London-based? I did it extramurally while I was working 70 hours a week anyway, and I did that because it was in one of the top 10 MBAs in the world. And I believe in a strong science-based approach to decision-making. And we see a lot of fluffiness in our council, and we need strong people who actually understand what governance really is, not getting into the weeds, but actually giving our council direction. And I found it very difficult in the last year. So I'm asking for you to support me, Andrew Von Dadelszen. It's not hard if you've lived it all your life. And I'll go on to my question. I should talk about keeping rates low, but I've just told you how that's done. So I'll talk about ratepayers getting value for money on these coast buses. When I took over public transport many years ago, there was less than 350,000 passenger trips taken a year. We're actually at 3.4 million passengers a year. So while you see, if you go visiting, go to Sydney, you'll see that during the middle of the day there are empty buses everywhere, and you think, God, how do they do it? Well, we're the same. So they're not all empty. Actually, at peak times they're full. And certainly the school bus is a very good service. But of course, we're not charging the kids anything, and we've got to actually make it pay so that so we do have to look at how we structure things. As I said, the park and ride, that was a government decision. We were going to spend the budget was given at 44 million a year ago, going through to 63 million, 60 or 63 million this year, and then in the 10 years going through to $100 million in public transport. And I think that's just not affordable. And that's why we had, and it wasn't that we never cut any services, but staff have actually been renegotiating and getting the transport costs down. And they've done a fantastic job, so a big shout out to them. But it doesn't just happen.
Thank you very much.